My guest is with me here, Andy Yingpin Liu. He's the representative, Taipei Trade Office in Nigeria. Welcome to the program to you.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you.
And just while we were on the break, I was asking how long you have been here. Yeah. So say publicly.
Right. Well, thank you for the opportunity to help me to come to this great program. Actually, this is my second time in Nigeria. I've been here for almost 2 years and 6 months. But my first came into Nigeria is 1993 to 1997. Your federal government invite Taiwan to be the strategic partner for developing your first ever export processing zone in Calabar.
Export processing zone in Calabar. Because I know that for Taiwan, it came into Nigeria, I think, in 1991. So you came in 1993.
Yes.
Okay, and you stayed 4 years in Calabar.
Yes, because right after 1991, both sides signed the MOU for establishing the trade mission. Our trade mission established in Lagos, but in 93 we have a consulate in Calabar because we need to cooperate with your Nigerian government for that export processing zone in Calabar. But in late 97, our consulate merged with the trade mission because our trade mission moved with other embassy to Abuja in the early 2000s.
Yes.
So that way we merged. So our office is similar like a de facto embassy together with the consulate and together with the trade mission 3-in-1.
But there was a time that they asked you to move away from Abuja back to Lagos.
Late 2017. Certain reason I will not be able to discuss.
I don't even want to go in there.
No, better not.
I don't want to go in there because
let's focus more on
let's stick with trade and business and economy.
Of course.
Okay, so talk to my viewers about Taiwan actually. For people that have not been there. Of course, when they hear Taiwan, they get to hear different things. You know, when you hear Taiwan, China comes to mind and all of that. But just talk to us about Taiwan.
Sure. Thank you for that. I'll take
I know you tell us the beautiful things.
Yes.
If you can't tell us also the bad things.
No. I will tell you in a rather neutral way because I think if everybody had been viewing CNN, BBC, or Al Jazeera, this few days, our president, Madam President, is visiting some of our diplomatic allies in Central America, Guatemala, Belize, but she's now in California, meeting with the top-ranking U.S. Congress, like the Speaker of the House, Mr. McCarthy, and numerous congressmen, because Taiwan relation with the rest of the world would have diplomatic relation and non-diplomatic relation. Most of our best partners are non-diplomatic kind of a country like US, EU, most of the EU member states, Japan, Australia, India. We have no diplomatic relation with not any of them, but we kept a so close strategic partnership with almost everyone. And Taiwan has been regarded as the most trustworthy strategic partner for providing microchip, the most advanced microchip and semiconductor actually produced in Taiwan. The US will buy microchip only from Taiwan because that is the most trustworthy product. Taiwan can cooperate with the US. So we are now having a new trend of the world that the European Union or European country are sending so many delegations to Taiwan. A German minister just visited Taiwan, a huge delegation from Czech Republic and also from Japan, for so many countries coming to Taiwan. So we are in a historical trend, a historical turning point. So it's a good time thank you for having me to come here to talk about us. And at the same time, before I came in here, I was sitting outside to watch your news broadcasting. Almost every item you mentioned, we Taiwan participate that, from halal industry. Our office participated in the Abuja Halal Expo 2 years ago with a huge Taiwan stand. So Taiwan does not just manufacturing computers or semiconductor. We have a very advanced halal industry. We cooperate with Indonesia and Malaysia and Turkey and some of the Middle Eastern countries. And talk about NEPC. Our biggest Taiwan trade agency had an MOU with the NEPC just a few years ago. And our biggest trading agency has an MOU with NASIMA, with Abuja Chamber of Commerce. So we are penetrating the market by building institute-to-institute relations so that we can have a better understanding to each other. We don't want to have good Nigerian trading partner to get into our own for one night. We have very bad 419 people in Taiwan. But with the institute-to-institute relation, at least we can protect the members of the big institute to give it into something like that. And I have to move back to the focus on economic relations. Our trading in 2021 reached nearly $1 billion US. That's the first time in the history for the last 30, 40
That's
years.
2021.
2021. Okay. Even during the heaviest influence of COVID, our trading, mutual trading, jumped up 200%. And Nigeria enjoys such a huge trade surplus. In 2021, you enjoy at least $240 million US of trade surplus because we require huge raw material like sesame, chestnuts, and quite a lot of oil-related product, and also some of the steel or aluminum we buy in Nigeria. And Nigeria had been importing our product mainly on automobile and car parts or motorcycle. And we have a big tire brand name called Maxxis, Maxxis, which has set up the market share here quite successfully. So we're trying to get into the Nigerian market with some newly renovated kind of product into here. Last year, 2022, our trading value a little bit lower down to like 700 million, but Nigeria still enjoy a huge trade surplus. So that means we need to work harder to sell more of our product here.
To Nigeria.
To Nigeria.
So you mean that we are having more Nigerian exports to Taiwan?
To Taiwan, yeah.
And apart from sesame, because you mentioned sesame, apart from sesame, what else do we export?
Chestnut, those are agricultural products.
Okay, agricultural products.
Those are quite raw material ones because we have a huge food industry. We need to have more groundnut or sesame to grind into kind of home cooking oil. And actually, Taiwan is probably still the best model of non-oil economy to Nigeria because Taiwan has no natural resources at all.
At all.
So we envy Nigeria so much. You have everything. We don't have nothing in Taiwan.
No, but you can't say you don't have nothing because you still export. You mentioned chips earlier, which
microchip.
Okay, okay. Now let me come to this right now because you're saying we do export agricultural products to Nigeria, and they are in their raw form.
Raw form, but in rather good quality.
Semi-processed form.
Yes, in good quality.
Yes, but what does Taiwan export to Nigeria? Tires?
Mainly
electrical
automobile and motorcycle parts. And some company here, they import our part together with some other part from the world and then do assembly line. And one of the motorcycle assembly line called Q-Link is actually our Taiwanese brand here.
Okay.
And we have a car tire company called Maxxis, which has already penetrated into Nigeria market. Quality the same as Michelin or with Dunlop. So Nigerians are really getting addicted to our product more.
Okay, where I was coming to is, and I want us to balance it out.
Sure.
Nigeria, we export raw agricultural produce.
And oil-related products.
Yes, oil-related, almost semi-processed or raw. But you bring in almost the finished goods into Nigeria.
Nearly finished.
So if you take a look at the cost, aren't you gaining in terms of the amounts?
Yes.
So to speak, you know, because the amounts getting in electrical products or even metals or whatever, the machinery, it's more than the raw products, as it were, in terms of prices.
Yeah, so for us, I mean, we Taiwan grow from the most backward, the most poverty country we can have after Second World War. So from 1960, we start out with something that we import raw material, we process it, and we export with value-add product.
Exactly.
So we earn the hard money.
That's actually where I'm going to. So to say that, okay, we're surplus, but your product into Nigeria is more value-added. Because when
luckily.
you know, and I guess that's a lesson too for Nigeria, which we've been talking about, because we export raw products. We don't get as much money as we should get, but if we process it or we add value to it, then we get more money. But that's not your problem, though.
But I need to come into your federal government because your Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment approached us about 2.5 years ago. They want to renew a very important agreement called Protection of Mutual Investment. Okay. We had that signed in 1994, so we need to renew it. But your federal ministry approached us actively, said that, okay, your ministry had already done with Morocco and Singapore. So in Asia, they target South Korea and Taiwan. They want to make it a new face for Nigeria to attract foreign investors to come in to set up factory or set up assembly line so that they can utilize the raw material of Nigeria locally and put into more like a value-added product and export. So we are now waiting patiently for that draft of the protection of mutual investment with Nigeria and Taiwan to be signed quickly, so that Nigeria and Taiwan can move into attracting mutual investment into each other. Maybe you can export more raw material to Taiwan, or maybe we can have investors coming in. Actually, one of our biggest Taiwanese trader in Nigeria had already set up a very, very well-constructed industrial zone, somewhere between, I think, Ogun and Osun State. They are trying to attract Taiwanese investors. But we need to have that kind of agreement in between Nigeria and Taiwanese government to be signed so that it will have confidence and safety for our investors to come in.
What will that Taiwanese investor be focused on?
Focus on having different type of assembly line or manufacturer, either from Taiwan or from Asia. So the name is called the Asian Industrial Zone. So, well, actually, our Taiwanese investment first. Then we need to attract people, because that industrial zone will have a non-stop power supply based on liquefied natural gas. It's one of the best energy that Nigeria can provide. So we can talk about it for 3 days, but not for today. Not today. So
because those are the kind of things I'm really interested in terms of seeing perhaps the workability and all of it. But where are you right now in terms of that? Do you have any idea as to when that will be signed?
Probably we are pushing, we are urging the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment try to finish all the consultation among your different federal ministry and make it happen probably in later half of this year. After being signed, then your government can send a delegation to Taiwan and we can start an annual consultation between Nigeria and Taiwan for all aspects. Agriculture, vocational training, information technology, and also about electrical cars. That is one of your government targets, and also about solar energy. These are the sphere that Taiwan can actually participate of your great national development.
You mentioned earlier that Taiwan you have nothing.
Well, nothing.
You have nothing. So
we only have human brain.
You only have human brain. Then how have you been able to make it work?
Because
because you don't have oil.
Yeah.
As it were. So
yeah, our government made a decision in late 1950, 1960, free education for all children, from grade 1 to grade 9.
Free education.
Free education
for all children.
All children.
Who pays for it? The federal government?
Yeah.
Or do you have provinces and do you have
We have now fading away the provincial. We have central and then we have municipality.
Okay, that's federal and local governments.
Yes.
That's municipalities.
That will be easier. We don't want to waste money in too many hierarchical terms. And then free education for all children from grade 1 to grade 9, because we have no natural resources, so we need to invest hugely in education, bringing up all the people and cutting down the illiteracy so that all our industry, all our business can hire someone, manpower with sufficient education all the way to grade 9. After grade 9, you can choose either you want to go for a senior high school or go for vocational training. And then after that, you can go for university or go for applied science university. So it's more like encouraging the base to be as large as possible, so that we can build up the human resources stage by stage and then step by step. So we develop from agriculture and then light industry, heavy industry. Every 10 years, roughly, we transform ourselves. And in late 1990, we transform ourselves into information technology. That's how the core technology of nanotechnology, microchip being established in Taiwan. We're lucky that we choose the right path. So now our microchip and our semiconductor have become the world #1 brand. We have surpassed the Korean Samsung and all others. We have become the #1 trading partner, strategic partner for the US, for the European country, for Japan.
Especially, was it last year there was this issue about semiconductors and all of that?
Right. So we have been through 30 to 40 years of struggling, from poor to modernize ourselves to become to become what we have today.
So would you categorize yourself as a modern economy?
Sorry?
Would you categorize yourself as a modern economy?
Yeah.
And secondly, when you talked about fair education from grade 1 to grade 9, and after that, they can make their choice.
Yes.
Where do your citizens really gravitate towards? Do they gravitate more to the education, the formal education, or do they gravitate more to the vocational? Do they say, okay, fine, we want to go to the university?
That's a great question.
Yes, because
that's a great question. From the 1960s, 1970s, all the way to 1980s, parents grew up in a poor time. They want their children to get proper education so that they can get a good job and earn more money. But in 1970 to 1980, quite so many of our university graduate students went to US for higher degree study. Like my elder brother, he went to US to get his doctorate degree, and he stayed in the US for some time. But in 1990 to the early 2000, so many of our graduates who had good jobs in the US came back to Taiwan because they have seen Taiwan economic development have moved from the heavy industry, heavy polluting industry into information technology. Information that means computer. Smartphone or satellite or solar energy, even clean energy. So they come back to set up their own kind of either company. So our diaspora, we experienced brain drain, heavy brain drain to the US, but luckily we got them back later, gradually. So they established their company and well connected to US, well connected to Europe, and to Japan also. So this is what we have experienced.
So what do you think we can learn from you? Or what have been the exchange of ideas been like with the Nigerian government?
Would like to do?
Yes.
Yes, so from my own experience, this time I came in about 2.5 years now. The more I visit Abuja, because our office is located in Lagos, the more I visit Abuja, the more I experience the exchange idea with your senior member in the National Assembly, from the Senate or the House of Rep, and from your government ministry. We found out that Nigerians are so much eager, want to move into either non-oil economy and put into efforts on education, but at the same time, you need to know what to do that you can get certain kind of reference from Taiwan. So what we can provide as a non-oil economy based on what we experience, small and medium enterprises need to be encouraged. Nigeria is a free economy, the same with us. So you need to encourage more people to get proper vocational training and into factory, into assembly line, and all kind of a trading agency can do import and export. But at the same time, you need to attract investors to come into Taiwan. This is our strategy, attracting investors to come into Taiwan. So that's why our export processing zone have been in Taiwan for almost 4 decades. They transformed themselves into science-based industrial zone.
Science-based?
Science-based, that means information technology, any technology, high technology. We are fading our own kind of labor-intensive industry, move them out to China or to somewhere else, but we try to keep the core technology in Taiwan so that we can generate the profit in Taiwan by exporting high value added.
So it's more soft industrialization you're going for?
Yes, in a way.
Not labor intensive?
Not labor intensive, but we've been through the labor intensive period of time.
You had that,
yes.
So now you're transiting or
yes.
Taking that, let the labor go to China and
but we still
places.
keep a large percentage of agriculture, but we move them into more technology kind of concentrated, more AI, more other technology to help the farmer. You don't need to put too much manpower, but you can get a high value added out of some sophisticated kind of like orchid. Taiwan is the second largest exporter of orchid, second to the Netherlands only. Beautiful orchid. I think ladies always love orchid. We have the best orchid. So this is just a small example that I can tell, because Nigeria, you have enjoyed such abundant natural resources, from agriculture to mining to all kind of things. All you need to do is just to have a sit down, have a good planning, and set up the goal step by step every 3 to 4 years, to 4 to 5 years, and try to see whether the rest of the world can give you some more reference. Taiwan is not the only good reference, though. You can learn from so many people.
Okay, let's talk about, you did mention earlier $1 billion as of 2021.
21, yes.
Do you have an updated figure to that? Do you have 2022's figure in terms of Nigeria-Taiwan trade?
Okay, if I remember correctly, our export to Nigeria in that year was about 150 million US dollar. But Nigerian export to Taiwan more than 640 million in that year. That's a 250% jump from the 2020. Because in 2020, only about like 200 million. But in that year, 2021, jump up almost 200% to almost reaching 1 billion. Well, I cannot give you the right figure for which of the product that export to Taiwan for how much percentage. But I think half-half, raw material of agriculture and other like oil-related product, and some aluminum, rough first stage of aluminum, and also iron and steel. But I will provide you with some more reference from my economic section in our office later.
Okay. Let's go back to the semiconductors, because
Yes.
I'm a bit interested in that. Like I mentioned earlier, we saw the semiconductor market, the demand slumped, I think, was it last year or so? And I also know that it impacted Taiwan. What measures perhaps did your government put together to help resuscitate that? I also do know that you have a central bank, Taiwan Central Bank or so, and I think they tightened rates or so, I can't remember now. But I'm just trying to ask you perhaps what measures.
Okay, for that kind of promoting.
Exactly.
Yeah, if I can take an example of how Nigeria and Taiwan have built out that kind of relationship, because in the past 2 to 3 years, 2 major steps have been taken by the Nigerian side, by your Nigerian Export-Import Bank, with our Exim Bank, has signed an MOU to provide $5 million US of trade guarantee loan to traders. And then from your Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation,
NDIC,
and with our central deposit insurance, signed an MOU in 2019. These 2 building blocks that lead to now the Charter Institute of the Bankers of Nigeria is moving forward to have our cooperation with Taiwan. This building block walk along side by side with the NASIMA and our trading agency, with Chamber of Commerce here and there, with our trading agency come along. So financial facilitation together with the actual trading promotion, that APC also signed an MOU with our trading agency. So you can see all those building blocks follow the principle laid by the World Trade Organization. And we follow that carefully because Nigeria and Taiwan are equal members of the WTO. That's why we support Madame Okonjo-Iweala very strongly.
Yes.
Our delegation in Geneva worked closely with the Nigerian delegation. Actually, Nigerian trade negotiator was the one making decision that Taiwan joined the WTO. So you can see the actual working relation had always been there. So 30, 40 years with Nigeria. We are close friends, but we want to be low profile so that practical measure can be done without touching any unnecessary political sensitiveness. You have tell us the wrong, so that's why I want to present you a small, Taiwan is a success story. And our president, Madam President, she's now in California meeting with so many the American politicians. And this is how the world supporting Taiwan. Yep, just small. If you cannot sleep at night, we'll help you.
Thank you very much. Taiwan is success story and a force for good.
Yes.
Okay, okay. Let's see. You've given me something to read.
Take your time.
Yes, I will take my time. I'll take my time to do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for taking the time.
But just before we go, I think this should be a last question. Is there like a financial, do you have, can you give me a sense of perhaps any financial obligation that has come in as a result of this relationship? Perhaps signing of these MOUs or those that you work with, Has Taiwan committed any amounts?
Not yet for the moment, because we need to base on very factual and very actual target, like Exim Bank. They want to promoting trade. And for financial institutions like deposit insurance, and then we'll see how the bankers can actually come up together with under the CIBN, so that we can work out a much bigger kind of mutual agreement in the future. But it all depends on your federal government.
Okay,
yes.
Just before you go again, I know I've said this will be my last question, but I also know
wind
power is a major industry in Taiwan.
Sorry?
Wind power.
Yeah, we have a huge wind turbine established by the European company, also Australian. You mean the wind turbine,
yes.
right? Because our nuclear power energy are fading away. They're getting old. And my government decided we need to have more clean energy, so we import more natural gas from Australia so that we can run on thermal power, not on nuclear anymore. We want to fade away the coal burning one. Our hydraulic might have problem because Taiwan have mountains too much. We cannot keep the reservoir well. They have asked very crucial question. We are still worried about that. we need to fill the gap after our nuclear energy fade away.
Do we see many Nigerian business people going to Taiwan?
Yes, quite a lot.
Quite a lot.
Actually,
what do they go there to do?
The most recent case is about 2 weeks ago. Governor of Edo State, Mr. Godwin Obaseki, led the delegation to Taiwan, together with the delegation from Kaduna State. And we've been approached by the Plateau State government. They want to establish state to state, but actually the state government will have an interaction with our central government. That means these interaction will come by the state government, but we need to have them to urge your federal government to have more structural agreement with Taiwan to protect the mutual investment, to protect and to promote trading in the near future. So we have seen the joint effort from your state to your federal working hand in hand with us. Forget about the political sensitivity. Everybody talk about how to make money.
Exactly, so that's what makes the world go round.
Yeah, because China is still our #1 trading market.
Yes.
So we make money together, forget about making war. We don't want to make
Even
war.
in war, people make money.
Yes, but we don't want to make that kind of money.
Yes, exactly. All right. Just before we go, you've been in Nigeria now for the past 2 years. You were in Nigeria, you told me 9 months after you got married, you came to Calabar.
Yeah.
How Nigerian are you? What food do you love?
#1, fish pepper soup.
Okay, thank goodness I'm not hearing jollof rice again.
Well, fish pepper soup, but only catfish. Catfish is the most delicious.
Okay.
And then my wife's favorite is spicy snail.
Spicy snail.
And we have a colleague here who's an expert on moi moi.
I can see him here.
We've been cooking puff in my house, or having jollof rice, and we never argue with any people from Ghana about which one has the best jollof rice.
Because if you do, you get into trouble.
So we know Nigerian, and we want to have more chances to promote a better relation between Nigeria and Taiwan.
Yeah. I want to say thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you.
I've
been speaking with Andy Yingpin Liu. He is the representative Taipei Trade Office in Nigeria. Thank you for this. Thank you for this again. Okay, can we see that? Taiwan, a success story and a force of good. Thank you. Thank you very much. And that's the much we can take on today's edition of Money Line with Nancy on African Independent Television. Thank you for your company as always from Monday till today. Tomorrow is a public holiday, so you won't see my face here. We get to see next week. The government has declared, the federal government has declared Friday and Monday as public holidays to mark the Easter holiday. So enjoy yourselves. Take the much needed rest as I will do. Will I? I'm asking myself, but let's see. Be the best you can be. Be the change that you want to see. I am Nancy Najib. Bye now.